Oh, this is for people who are sick of most law of assumption advice and want to manifest their SP back or manifest a better life going forward, not only romantically, but overall. I've spoken to way too many people over the last 6 months or so since Marvin and I started doing this SP coaching more intensively together, group coaching specifically. If you're interested in that, there's a link below. Questionnaire, you can fill it out. I've spoken to way too many people, good-hearted people, people who in many ways have their act together, but don't have their act together in terms of relationships, or at least feel they don't. Spoken to way too many folks like that who have told me, I wish I never found out about these law of assumption ideas. I wish I never found out about manifesting a person back into my life or getting into an ideal relationship through these manifestation tools as taught by these law of assumption YouTubers and influencers. Wish I never knew about that stuff, because my life would be better if I never knew about these ideas. And whenever I hear that, it bums me out. And then Marv and I try to give them some helpful advice. But as I always say on this channel, and if you're new to this channel, understand I always basically say this. First of all, you're the real specific person, okay? You're the real special person. It's ultimately, if we are trying to kind of follow the Neville Goddard law of assumption type of approach, it's ultimately not anybody out there that we're trying to change, let alone manipulate into liking us. It's us ourselves that we are trying to change, and that we must change if we are to feel better. And if we do that, we naturally will attract the person we want into our life. Or if we don't, something energetically equivalent or good will in all likelihood happen. But the way these people tell their stories, it's very sad, because they basically go down this law of assumption rabbit hole. It's awful, where they hear, oh, you're going to be able to do this technique and manifest your SP back. That's what usually really screws people up, is they want to get somebody back, an ex-partner, an ex-husband, an ex-wife, where they think the relationship was good, even if it maybe wasn't. But, they wanted that relationship, and it is gone. And they think by following this advice, they hear all this sensationalized advice about how you're going to do this technique. You're going to follow, quote unquote, follow Neville's advice, and you're going to get your person back in 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. It's easy. All you got to do is robotically affirm, or all you have to do is SATs, or all you have to do is whatever. Something very simple, straightforward. And as I always say, those techniques have their place without question. Affirmations certainly have their place. Visualizations certainly have their place. They work well for a lot of people, many, many, many people. But the way they are being marketed to you, advertised to you, because that's what these influencers on YouTube, guys, are basically, the way they're providing you information is not to teach you usually as much as it is to market to you. So you sign up for their course or their coaching or their whatever. They're not really teaching you or talking to you from this personal, individual level of who you are. So they're marketing to you a quick fix, so you'll buy it. And the fucking quick fix doesn't work for most people. Period. Does not work. Again, if you're fortunate, your SP maybe comes, or maybe you're not fortunate in the long run, but your SP might come back. But then you're going to run into the same shit again, because the deep inner work, which is what Neville was really getting at when he said talking about changing yourself, has not happened just by doing some robotic affirmations or doing SATs or what have you for a few days or weeks or whatever. It's not how this shit works. And so people hear from all these fucking dumb influencers on YouTube and purported coaches who are not really coaches and who offend people who are real coaches like myself when they use that term, that it's going to be easy and you just have to persist and just do this. So they do what they're told. They try their best. But like I said, they've got a good head on their shoulders in many ways, and they're like a good person, and they get fucked by this bad advice. And they get into a tailspin because maybe they see a little bit of future movement. They think a little bit of a positive movement. Oh, this person's texting me now. This stuff's working. My affirmations are working. I should keep on affirming robotically, or I should keep on doing SATs over and over again, even though it doesn't really feel real. I'm going to keep on doing it. And what ends up happening is, even if they see some positive momentum, and mind you, most people won't even see positive momentum, it will then fucking go backwards and stop working. The person gets hot, but then they get cold again. Then they get really cold. And you think, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. There's all these people on YouTube who are doing this successfully, and I'm unable to do that. What's wrong with me? I'm never going to find a partner. This is never going to work for me. What's so wrong with me? I better hire a coach to tell me. They hire a coach. The coach says, just do these affirmations and persist. This is no problem. And you say, okay, I'm going to do it right this time. You do that. It doesn't fucking work because that's not enough. And the coach told you bullshit advice isn't a real fucking coach. And so now you're really in bad shape. You're 6 months in. You haven't spoken to your SP in fucking months because everybody says no contact. You don't want to contact them. And you're fucked, basically. And you're more depressed than you've been maybe in your whole life or in a long time about a relationship. That's the kind of stuff that Papa Bear Tim sees all the time. And that Marvin sees all the time. That's the shit they don't fucking tell you. And then, hopefully, first of all, hopefully that has not happened to you if you're looking for SP advice. But for many of you watching this, I know it has. Then hopefully you find Marvin and I. And we help you heal. And reconnect with the real SP, which is you, and was you all along. And you are a good person, genuinely a good person. You wouldn't have made it this far in this video and hear me yammering and yippering if you weren't a good person. I feel pretty confident about that. And slowly, gradually, over the course of months or maybe a year, you will not only reclaim your self-concept, meaning make it more healthy and whole again, but you will in all likelihood reclaim a romantic partnership of some kind in your life. In all likelihood, not with the previous person. Perhaps with the previous person, it depends on your situation, but a lot of people that were struggling with their SP for months or years, when they actually do get that romantic relationship they want, it will not be with the person they were initially trying to manifest using the law of assumption, and then we're using all these tools that didn't work well. But yeah, people tell me far too often, I wish I never found out about these ideas. And that's a shame, because these ideas they're talking about are not really the quote-unquote law of assumption or the law of attraction or the new thought ideas or the psychological ideas that someone like Emile Coué spoke about so eloquently. Those ideas, as grandiose as they often are and as flawed as they often are for many of us, and again, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I've spoken so much about this. I love these teachers. I've learned so much from these teachers, but like basically any teachings, including, of course, Papa Bear Tim's teachings, or whatever you want to call this advice, it's flawed in many ways, and you got to pick and choose what works for you. But there is so much good in what people like Neville talked about, what Joseph Murphy talked about, what Florence Scovel Shinn spoke about. So much good. But it's lost in this marketing, salesy, you're going to fix it in 3 days bullshit that brings people into a black hole, and they say, I wish I never knew about these ideas. Never found out about them. And guess what? You never did find out about them. You got a, watered down, pissed out version of the ideas that was destructive instead of the real stuff. I want to read to you now from, in my opinion, the greatest, law of assumption, law of attraction type of teacher of the last century, Emile Coué, my favorite one of these teachers. If I can find the page. And I might not be able to. But I want to read, when I find this quote, which I think I've read before. Here it is. I want you to listen to what Emile Coué, who, mind you, had more success helping people manifest what they want, much more success, helped literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people heal themselves each year, what he said about these ideas, generally speaking. And I think this might be slightly paraphrased, but this is basically what he said. And again, we have so many Emile Coué videos. I'll put a link above to a playlist of the videos. This is him talking about business or any other venture. He said it should be thoroughly analyzed by critical reasoning, avoiding impulsiveness. And once they have arrived at a decision, they should stick to it unless some additional facts prove that they have been mistaken. That's Emile Coué, the greatest manifesting teacher of the last 100 years, talking about how to apply these ideas in general in the outer world in terms of action. Does that sound like you will not have to lift a finger or just persist and don't contact or any of this other horse shit? Of course it doesn't. Coué, unlike most of the LOA teachers that came after him, Maxwell Maltz is a notable exception to that, the author of Psycho-Cybernetics. But unlike most of the LOA teachers that came after him, Coué really emphasized being rational and using critical reasoning to help you a lot of the time. And I can tell you right now, when it comes to relationship advice and SP advice, having worked with a lot of people over the years and had several good relationships with difficulties and now a very healthy, loving relationship for going on, I think, 16 years at the turn of the year, that using critical reasoning and avoiding impulsiveness and, coming to calm decisions and sticking to those calm decisions unless additional facts prove otherwise and prove that they've been mistaken, that kind of advice is fucking superior SP advice most of the time, guys. And that's what so few people in the community, except for Marvin and I, are going to tell you when it comes to manifesting your SP, that external person out there, and getting that real SP yourself back from the shithole that you inadvertently, sadly, put yourself in by listening to all this awful fucking take no action, just do this fucking da-da-da advice. People can play around if they want, or they can fix the relationship they have with themselves and find a romantic partner, an ideal partner going forward. If you want help with the latter, I can be contacted below. Hope this video was helpful.